My name's Lexie. Is there he pronouns?
My name is BA, and my pronouns are Z, here, and here's.
And I'm Ethan. I use he, him pronouns. And today we're going to share about our experiences supporting trans survivors through RAIN.
I joined RAIN, the Rape, Assault, Incest National Network, through the National Leadership Council that they have. And for a little bit of context, it's America's largest anti-sexual violence nonprofit. It's the one you see in all the bathroom stalls. Shortly after the Trump election 2.0, I got a text from a fellow survivor advocate who said that after years of working with them in this way, that Rain had taken down all mention of trans people from the website, including books and films that I've made in the past that were resources for trans and queer survivors. I looked internally and asked, what's going on? And this removal was in response to an active and well-recorded abuser taking office. I got the same message over and over and over again, which is nothing has changed. We only took a word down. We still support all survivors. And pushing and getting this information that nothing has changed made me feel quite insane, especially in the context of survivorship. But also, I had just started recovering from a recent assault. I really genuinely had trouble getting out of bed.
I was a volunteer for over 13 years, serving 1,200 survivors or more. When RAINN said that they were taking down all of our support for trans and BIPOC and international survivors, it nearly killed me. They claimed it was compulsory in order for them to retain funding, but we knew that that actually wasn't the case. We also knew that trans survivors were not being served the same as what they had been in the past. RAINN abandoned us and abandoned survivors on the hotline of all different backgrounds. As I advocated alongside trans, BIPOC, and international survivors, RAINN leadership decided to remove me as a volunteer after all those 13 years of service. I worked with many volunteers on the hotline. This was our community of care, and this is also how we, as also survivors, provided support for others. We were executive ordered out of existence somehow, and yet we were used as a political prop.
I served on RAIN's Speakers Bureau alongside about 4,000 other survivors for 8 years, and in that time was repeatedly platformed and specifically asked to share my experiences of being a trans survivor and advocate who had faced discrimination. And it actually wasn't until I reached out to RAIN's chat line, where VA and others had volunteered, that I felt supported and able to access some kind of community for the first time. And then in February 2025, we all received a message on the Speakers Bureau telling us that our materials had been taken down, completely deleted from RAIN's website and all social media, and that we would be given an opportunity, if we so chose, to rewrite our stories to bring them in line with the administration's priorities. But as a transgender survivor, my existence is out of step with the administration's priorities. And so even if I had wanted to do that, it wasn't going to be an option for me.
We were all involved in RAINN in so many different ways, and yet we all found each other as mutual support after what happened. Lexi, what would you want other orgs like RAINN to do to uplift the many lovely people like us?
I would say that we're not just a word. Removing trans means something, and excluding trans survivors is to imply that we can only be perpetrators, which is a lesson that culturally we are being told in so many ways. And there is a really deep irony in believing survivors, but not believing in people's relationship to their own selves and their own bodies and their own words. It hurts. We're people.
To so-called allies, advocacy requires more of us to mitigate the harm that we could also cause to those that we serve. This should not be a performative gesture, but rather a lifelong journey of radical care and action.
To our fellow trans survivors, something that I've learned, maybe that all of us have learned through this, is that we don't owe anything to organizations that don't meaningfully support us.